Hey everybody, I'm Taz, and this is the Taz Talks podcast. Welcome back. Today, guys, we're going to talk about something that affects millions of people every year, and that's drinking and driving. Now, if you think I already know it's dangerous, stick with me, please. This isn't going to be a lecture. We're going to talk about real life decisions, real life consequences, and why so many otherwise smart people still get behind the wheel after drinking. It's affected me personally. Back in 2015, I had a DUI case. And it affected me for a few years. It still affects me to this day. I think about it every day. I've been sober since 2021. Because the truth is, most people don't wake up planning to drink and drive. It usually starts with a few drinks, a good time, confidence, and belief that they're okay to drive. Oh, Melly wants to say hi to the podcast. Hi, baby. Say hi, podcast. Hey. That was her. Come here, son. This is Remy. Say hello to the podcast. Go hi, buddies. I got your back, son. Don't worry. You stop that. But sometimes one decision can change everything. So let's talk about it. Most adults know drinking and driving is dangerous. So why does it still happen? That's a question I ask myself every day, as does millions of other people. Here's some of the common reasons: overconfidence, peer pressure, underestimating alcohol's effects. That one was mine. I underestimated its effects. Not wanting to leave the vehicle behind, believing they're only a little buzzed. That was my second mistake. So, one, I underestimated alcohol's effects, and I believed I was only, quote, a little buzzed. This episode and the last episode really really hit home with me. The problem is that alcohol affects judgment before people realize they're impaired. Think about that. The problem is alcohol affects judgment before people realize they're impaired. That's very important. Let's sit with that for a minute. I know it affected my judgment before I realized I was impaired. And before I knew it, I was blowing every stop sign in my neighborhood, doing almost 60 down the side streets. Ran a couple stop signs, stopped at the main one. But then I shouldn't have been driving in the first place. That was my mistake. I got behind the wheel and it really did affect me. You can ask Mrs. Taz when she comes in how much it affected me. She's seen me dealing with the pressure of it when we got together. The very thing you need to determine whether you're safe to drive is one of the first things alcohol affects your judgment. Many people say, I've driven after drinking before. I know my limits. It's only one shot. But accidents don't care how far you're driving. They really don't, folks. I was just going 7 blocks. A night that changes everything, folks. In this scenario, it's Friday night. You meet friends after work. One drink turns into three, three turns into five. Think about that. One turns into three, three turns into five. Everyone is laughing and having a great time. As the night winds down, you start thinking about getting home. You feel okay, maybe a little tired, maybe a little buzzed, but not drunk. At least that's what you tell yourself. Then on the drive home, your reaction time slows just by a fraction of a second. A traffic light changes, a pedestrian steps into the crosswalk, a car suddenly brakes. That fraction of a second becomes the difference between getting home safely and creating a tragedy. I didn't know the facts back in 2015 when I drove drunk. I didn't know the facts until I had done research for this podcast. So knowing the facts, it still affects me emotionally to this day. That's the reality of impaired driving. The victims impact, the impact on victims and families. When people think about DUI incidents, they often focus on the driver. But let's talk about everyone else. The parent driving home from work, the teenager coming back from a game, the family on a road trip, the first responders who arrive at the scene, and the loved ones who receive a phone call they'll never forget. Drunk driving doesn't just affect one person. The consequences ripple through entire communities. Some families spend years recovering emotionally. Others never get the opportunity. Others never get the opportunity. That really hits me because when I had my accident and my DUI back in 2015, I had a passenger with me. Here was my full charges: transporting an open container, driving under the influence, leaving the scene of an accident with bodily harm. Those were very big in charges on my record. Thankfully, I'd done everything I needed to complete, learned my lesson, and got the charges expunged. Thankfully, because it almost didn't happen. Let's talk about the consequences of the driver. Even when no one is injured, a DUI can have major consequences. I know with some of these that you may face, I faced a few of them, and I'll tell you what all I faced after. You may face arrest, fines, court appearances, license suspension, insurance increase, job related challenges, and emotional stress. I had court appearances, fines, license suspension, emotional stress. And I would have had increased insurance rates, but I wasn't driving. I had my license suspended up until 2024 is when I paid the reinstatement fee. I gave everything time to clear off my record and the state to forgive me. Many people describe DUI as a DUI arrest. Many people describe a DUI arrest as one of the worst nights of their lives. And most of them say the same thing. I know I said it. It wasn't worth it. And it really wasn't, folks. I thought I'd make it home safely because I made it to my destination safely. The sober person wouldn't drive, they wanted to fight about who was driving with somebody who wasn't even in the car with us. So I took the keys from him and drove. I shouldn't have been behind the wheel, but I wasn't going to leave my friend's vehicle on Main Street all night. Let's talk smarter choices. The good news: every DUI is preventable. Before going out, make a plan. Use a rideshare service. Choose a designated driver. Call a friend. Stay where you are. Spend a little money now instead of risking everything later. A ride home costs far less than the potential consequences of impaired driving. I know I should have fought harder for somebody else to drive home that night, but I didn't. I took the keys under somebody else telling me to drive the truck home because I drove it up there. I drove it up there because I wanted food. I couldn't wait. So I drove it up there. And my roommate at the time was supposed to drive it back. But that didn't happen. If there's only one thing I hope you take away from today's episode, it's this. Drinking and driving isn't about being a bad person. It's about making a bad decision. Bad decisions can happen to anyone. That's true. The key is putting a plan in place before alcohol enters the picture. One ride can save a life. One phone call can prevent a tragedy. One decision can make the difference. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If this conversation made you think, share it with someone who might need to hear it. Until next time, stay safe, take care of each other, and remember, getting home safely is always worth the extra effort. I'm Taz, and this was the Taz Talks podcast, and I'll see you in the next episode.